Alright, so I just wanted to do a good watch list review. I'm not going to put this on YouTube. I just wanted to leave this for you guys because I see a lot of you just needing the video content. It's not really, you want to go support the channel. Just some people really do want to see this stuff. So I'm here to give it out to anyone. So let's just start with the top of the watch list. I'm literally just using levels that are either from this list or past levels that I've mentioned either in voice chat or any of that stuff. But most of the lines will be from the list that I post each day because a lot of the time I'll clear my chart and start over. But here on Tesla, I left some of the levels up. So I actually had these two levels up here before, even on prior list. So that's pretty cool. That's where they stopped at. I think I drew them actually from the, yeah, I just drew them from a bigger time frame. I also posted these levels last night, so even if you didn't get them from the past, you got them now. But here on Tesla, we had a break below. What was our break below? Our break below was 443.50, which I don't have that marked because I was just flying through them all. But let's see here, 443.50. So let's mark that line. About right there. So we did get some good, a good toe touch there on the wick there before, you know, the 10 minutes passed. So we had 10 minutes go by, so at least it gave you that a little bit of confirmation. But it did reject that pre-market high. It never actually went above. The bid did go above it for a little while, but it came right back down, and it came up for the double top, made a lower high here on the wicks. Made a lower high here on the wicks, giving you a bearish sentiment that it has a higher chance of breaking down. And then you got your breakdown to your pre-market low that we were talking about. It's not the exact low, but it is the more aggressive. I wanted to go a little more aggressive on it. I could have made a wider range, but that would have just given you the top of the gap range that we've already marked from last night. But so one, you got confirmation there. You have rising sellers and rising seller momentum is what I should also be saying. It broke below. Then you get it down to your target, and you can take profit, but it just kept rising. It didn't stop rising till this candle, till the bottom of this candle. So you're already over $20 down on your entry, and you haven't even, you know, thought about even exiting yet because you have so much like scare seller momentum. You should be selling into this candle though. I'm not going to tell you should be aggressively holding that, but you should be selling into that. But then you had one last candle, you had a seller reaction, and it came down to hit that support that we had previous, like I posted the night before. So that was a good spot. Good indication to get out would have been this candle, though, because if you get that big of a drop with rising volume, expect to have a little bit of consolidation before another drop. So if you're just going for scalps, that would have been a good exit. Ended up picking back up and then reutilizing our levels, not touching a single one. They reutilized it. You even got your lower high here on this failed double top, went back down, decided to hold here. Good confirmation for another move up. So that, in my opinion, is more bullish than bearish than anything, because now you know that you've definitely tested those levels. Let's go over here to ZM. That was the next one. I saw a few guys in chat play this. I instantly posted this 3-bar play for anyone to look at because it was really awesome. But you got your emerging candle, and if you're in the premium chat, you know about this. I'm going to be covering this in another video. You got your 3-bar play, solid flat here, pushed up emerging. You had rising buyers. That's a continued push. And then I think I just drew that during the day. I think I drew that about right here, actually. Ended up breaking down. Still a little below it. But good plays there on Zoom. If you played that price action, the rising buyers above the pre-market high, that was indication that we were going to be doing good because you had your small gap down here in ZM. Wasn't as big on this stock compared to the rest of the stock market. You'll see that as we go through here. So like here on Apple, way bigger gap down. You'll see a bigger one, I think, on some of the airlines too. I think airlines were the only the staying bearish ones. Here on Apple, though, you had a good break below. Or sorry, it went back up. 3-bar played right out of the gate, which I'm not going to call it a 3-bar play, but it was because, one, flat here. You have a flat wick top there, flat body top, and the body of the candle didn't take up more than 50% of this candle. Then you get your second emerging candle for a 3-bar push. So that is a 3-bar play. If you're a premium member, please check out that note if you don't know what I'm talking about. Pushed up. Made good note to get out of that if you were actually playing calls. I think a lot of people today were just chilling just to see where market was going to go, and that's perfectly fine. But you had to actually end up getting a good cup and handle here later on in the day, which actually caught on where we had our target, so that's pretty cool. That was very bullish when that happened. And then even better is you got another retest just to, you know, make sure, like, yo, buyers are in control, because you made this cup and handle, and then you made a higher high here. So now you're looking to break this. What do you have right here? Rising buyers. Rising buyers took control of that as they were taking it for the last time. You didn't have rising buyers anywhere else through here during all these breakouts. This one you did, rising buyers, but none of this had rising buyers in it. Only there and there. That's because they were the most crucial spots on the chart. Let's go to square. Square, wow, actually held our levels perfectly. I didn't look at this chart most of the day. These are all levels posted on the watch list again. These were all posted before any of these candles were here, so that's pretty cool to see that they were utilized so very well. Again, this is why pattern recognition is so good, because here you have another inverse head and shoulders here. That's not really the prettiest because I'm really bad at drawing, but you had a good strong inverse head and shoulders on a very crucial level. And just like in guide number 3, I cover why that's so important, because that just picks up the momentum and probability of the stock, whether it's going down or up. The pattern recognition helps out a lot. It's immense help. But it hits that pre-market high, I mean the gap zone high. See how big that one is on this chart? It's doing it right there. Pops. What do you have right there? I promise there's a rising in buyers right here as that's all happening. So what's from here to here? You had your rising buyers as it took the level, and then you had rising buyers as it was going past the level. So you had confirmation both above that level and this level to get in for calls if you wanted to hold for a longer trade. Perfectly tuned right there. Beyond, if you stayed out of this one for the day, perfectly fine. I would not have blamed you. I think my levels were, I set 145 for above, 141 for below. Yeah, so calls above my level were really good. As you can see, all the choppiness happened here. And then once you get above my level, it was a little cleaner price action. You had your hold there, and it pushed up further in the rest of the day. So that was a good day trade if you wanted to take that from my level, because I promise there's rising buyers here. But it's not as fun. I can totally tell why some people don't want to trade this time zone, because the volume isn't as much fun to watch. See how they're so big over here. On stocks like Beyond, sometimes you're not going to always have a bunch of volume going out throughout the day, which this is still a lot of volume. But what did you have right here as you took this level? Rising buyer. They take that level. Now you're waiting for probability to go to this level, which you could even say right here too. What did it do as it broke that level? Had a volume breakout. What did it do as it broke this level? Rising buyers. Rising buyers. So that's just good to notate. Clearly volume is the best non-lagging indicator, because this will be directly on par with what you're looking at as the price action unfolds. BA had a boring day. A lot of the airlines did. I'm going to go over this for the next 3. This, AL, and DAL, these all kind of broke lower and then held in those lower zones. So we're going to be utilizing the crap out of that tomorrow. I'm going to post all 3 of those tickers again tomorrow. Please, please, please pay attention to my airline levels tomorrow. They're going to be very, very accurate. This is what I like to see, and it's kind of hard to explain. But whenever you see this pre-market like this and then boring price action, like, yeah, it made a good one directional move down. You know, it had a double top. It even went down. You know, it kind of even stayed under for a little while. But it stayed in this range once it found this range, right? This is now going to give us amazing previous day levels for targets tomorrow. So whatever, let's say pre-market's here, here, and here. I now have a good break above to here and a good break below to here. I have a good break above that to here, and there's another level down there. It's going to be very useful as we go through these airlines. And again, here, and all of these, by the way, you could have played puts right out the gate just because of the rising seller volume after the 10 minutes went by. You had a good drop. I mean, that's a great candle to see as you're breaking below your level, and you had rising sellers. I mean, after the 10 minutes went by, it said, nah, we're going to break out. So this is where your good breakout candle came from. Marking your Iron Man hands, like I said. Breaks lower. What happens when it finally breaks lower out of that range? It had rising sellers. So that's a good indication there on AL. And the rest of the day was a little bit boring on price action. Same with DAL, though. You even have a slight 3-bar play right here. You have your emerging candle. This candle never retook 50% or more. It stayed level. Pushed lower. That's great to see. And when you see rising sellers, that's a double confirmation that that's going to keep bleeding. So that's an amazing gain right there. You have another one right here, actually. Emerging candle. Candle here. Flat. 3-bar play. Which this actually turns into not as strong, because you always want the emerging candle to have a lot of volume on it. This one had volume, but then you had your kind of buyer reaction, and then you have that. But that's where I told you guys where those come from. Those happen. You're going to get that. And then you have a failed double top here, which is why you mark that line. And then what do you see here? Rising sellers as it's finally dropping again. So that's just always good to go back and review. It's always good to go and review that. But you had a breakout of sellers here as it was trying to exit that again. So good job on that one if you're paying close attention to the airlines today. And then our last two are NVIDIA and Amazon. What is this candle? So here on NVIDIA, I saw a few guys in chat play it, and I mentioned it in voice chat, and I think a few guys actually ended up playing it. So good job to everyone. But if you didn't, let's go over and review it. So here, we had our levels marked. I think I said, yeah, above this level for calls, below this level for puts. We never went down and tested this. I think I marked this line midday because that ended up being useful. But this is where it held once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times. So that now makes a new good support if you want to play an aggressive scalp to there. That's just why I mark that kind of stuff. It just, for the future, helps me out. But right here, we got a slight cup and handle on that level after it held it, making bullish marks. Above our break above 2, and it goes to our target at 484. This was the farther target, 484.75, and then we have another target at 490. So let's mark that 490. Look at that resistance. Good target for high probability. This is where it actually stuck. No red candles right here. No red candles at all. And that's exactly why. The price action is telling us. So what this chart is telling me is we had a good bullish pattern here above a level that needed to be held. That's even extra bullish. So now where are we going? Well, let's mark our target level. That's why we had that targeted. I marked that for a reason this morning. Breaks above that. Why did it have no red candles though? Because this is where buyers had full control. Sellers didn't want this once they saw they weren't taking it out of this pattern and they weren't able to stop it before. They stopped it once, but the sellers couldn't take it anywhere lower. So where's it going to go? Only place it can go is higher. So there it goes, takes that. No pattern here. Once it got on top of here, it looked like it was trying to do head and shoulders, which is why it looked kind of like it was trying to bleed, but ended up holding and sticking against these 3 lines here. What I mean by 3 lines is it held this little range here, one where it stuck here, one where we broke up and stuck here, and then again for a third. So rule by 3, 1, 2, 3, you get a push up again. And that's why everyone, like literally everyone, Chef, me, Nerdy, John, everyone preaches the rule of 3, and it's because of how accurate it is. And last one, Amazon. Amazon here for our break below and break above. Let's just get those highlighted a little better. Kind of stuck within range most of the day. That's not really fun to watch. I did an aggressive one because the pre-market was so aggressive. I mean, you had that gap down, but I guess a tertiary line to mark would have been good there. I didn't mark any targets on this one today, but this would have been what I marked. If you're a Amazon trader, I'm kind of hoping you know to mark that. But that would have been good to mark because that was where your gap down started. Ended up also being used for your resistance. So even if you didn't mark it before, seeing it here again, seeing that line up, that would have been good to note. Giving you a good future target if you ever did break higher. Finally did end up breaking higher. You made 1, 2, 3, 4 higher lows. Then you kind of messed with the trend here. Momentum shifted. Bulls took it. So that was just the end of the day pump there that you saw on a lot of tech stocks today. So no really big play on that one if you didn't wait for it. But still some good technical analysis to go over here on Amazon. Just going through these steps, by the way, it really helps you. If you just go through the process of, saying what the chart's saying to you out loud to yourself, like I'm doing right now, it'll help you a lot. Just every day reviewing, doing it for hours a day, every single day, I promise it'll help. It is so helpful. And it is because you're just sitting there grinding and you're learning about everything that's going on with the chart. You're not just, oh, I put this line here for this reason, I put this line for this reason. No, you're doing it for a reason, and that's why it's helpful to you. Look at that, higher low. But I hope this video helped you. If it did, please let me know. If you need anything, please DM me. I've been giving 20 to 40 private videos out a day, so please message me if you need anything.